Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Brenner, VP of Content here at CyberRisk Alliance, and I'd like to welcome you to this SE Media in Focus, sponsored by Fortinet. And joining me today from Fortinet is John Maddison. He is Fortinet's EVP of Products and CMO. We're going to discuss Fortinet's cybersecurity blueprint for protecting people, devices, and data everywhere. John, welcome.
Thanks, Bill. Good to be here.
So I know that you have your annual Accelerate conference going on. Talk to me about the big picture trends that you're discussing with customers and partners at the show.
Yeah, well, it's our Accelerate, and where we invite customers and also partners there. The company is 23 years old, and so we've been doing this event for quite some time. I think the big things this time around concern this continuing convergence of networking and security, the consolidation of vendors and functionality in the cybersecurity world, and then also a big emphasis on training and helping people. I think the first one has been changing quite rapidly over the last maybe 5 years, in that the days of just building networks and then let's add some security on top are gone. I think now secure networking or network security is almost bigger than, I would say, standalone networking. And that means you need to put security and embed it, integrate it completely inside the networking. But no matter if it's switching or SD-WAN or firewalls, the security needs to be totally embedded in there. And to do that, you also need other technologies and tools like ASICs and cloud native and things like that. From a platform perspective, we're definitely seeing customers look at this consolidation because they just can't manage all these different vendors and get them to work together. And so this platform functional consolidation and vendor consolidation is now starting to accelerate. And as I said, I think from a training perspective, customers and partners are just making sure they've got the latest and greatest technologies to make sure they can architect and deploy and maintain their networks.
So we've heard a lot more of late about the importance of cyber physical security. What exactly is Fortinet doing in this area?
Well, the first thing is cyber physical, sometimes called operational technology. It's just exploded because that companies, first of all, companies that used to be very closed off, they used to call it air gapping. That's our security won't connect to anything. That's not the case anymore. Everything's connected to the cloud. And so that gap has gone. Because of COVID to some extent, they've also said we need remote access to all these things. So you've got the supply chain coming in with all their systems and risks. And then the third thing is what we usually think about being a cyber physical system, a factory, energy, utility, has now expanded everywhere. I mean, the building that we have here as our corporate headquarters is carbon emission free. To do that, we have all sorts of systems and windows and blinds and fans and all these things which are very coordinated to make sure that can happen. And so we think long term, the cyber physical or OT world will be everywhere. It'll be in your home as well long term. And so the ability to provide OT security, and that is to make sure your networking gear and your IT gear understand an OT world, is going to be very important. And to implement that security as you do inside the IT world, inside an OT world, means all your systems need to understand that OT world. And so making sure, again, your switches, your networking, your SD-WAN, your SIM, SOAR, EDR, all those systems need to be OT aware as you go forward. And you need to play within a very different ecosystem than the cloud or the network.
Sure. Now, most recently, we had a conversation about why the convergence of networking and security is so critical. So with that in mind, can you talk about some of the latest technological innovations Fortinet is delivering to help customers combat the constantly evolving threat landscape?
It's critical because digital experience is critical now. Whether it be users, wherever you may be, or devices, that experience of connecting to the application is absolutely critical going forward. And so, as I said a bit earlier, the days of creating networks and then thinking about security later are over. You've got to build it up front. And so what we're seeing now is a journey of different technologies for customers. The first one being firewalls or mesh firewalls, hybrid mesh firewalls, control points, which are now everywhere across all your infrastructure. They're not just sitting in the data center, sitting in the cloud, as a service, on-premise, in the factories. That's the basic foundational piece. We're then saying that connectivity needs to be secure. So secure SD-WAN needs to be implemented across anything that needs that connectivity. And then as we go forward, customers are thinking, well, maybe we can put some security on the edge there, some security in the cloud for remote users. So things like SASE is a terminology that everyone is using. And then I think the end goal is to make sure that everything is zero trust, that every application is accessed by every user or device in a zero trust methodology, which is, again, is very different from trusting everything, as the name suggests. And so this journey that customers are on right now, from hybrid mesh to SD-WAN, to SD branch and SD campus, to SASE and zero trust, is a journey, and customers are at different stages, but they like this blueprint of getting to a point where all the networking is converged and secure. There's a zero trust architecture across everything, which makes them far more secure than they would be before.
Now, it's understood that all things cannot be solved by technology alone. And I know that Fortinet has invested a lot of time and treasure into training and services. So with that in mind, how's Fortinet evolving its approach to training for customers, partners, employees, even the general population, to try and close that cybersecurity skills gap that keeps coming up over and over again these days?
Yeah, it's very important to us. Network Security Expert Program we started maybe 5 years ago, and I think we've already trained over 1 million people. We've committed to training another 1 million people. It's very important to have people trained, and I think as we go forward, what we're doing is we're saying, we initially started the program and we kind of just chose, I would say, different subjects for people to kind of learn about, and you could pick different ones, but what we're finding now is that you have to become more specialized. So if you want to learn about secure SD-WAN, there's different modules you need to take to become that expert. And so now we're just making it easier for our partners and the customers to specialize in certain areas, to make sure they have enough knowledge to implement that. And by the way, we'd made training free for all our partners since the beginning. When COVID started, we made training free for all our customers, and we're going to continue that going forward as well. So we did believe it's so important. We're not treating it like a profit center like a lot of companies do. It is training we provide to our customers and partners. But also, I think one part of it that people miss is that, like you said, is the human element. That one of the most important things you need to do up front is train all the people. And so we have an IT awareness platform and system that allows you to get everybody trained on some basic security skills, on not clicking on XYZ, etc., or not replying to certain emails, which allows you to kind of increase your posture among your humans versus the technology pieces.
Gotcha. All right, wonderful. So I've asked some specific questions. Any parting thoughts or areas that we haven't gotten into that you'd like to now?
No, as I said, our big event Accelerate's coming up next week, and we invited all our partners and customers there. We're also streaming some of the keynotes to people who can't make it, so it should be a great event.
All right. Well, best wishes on that event. I have no doubt it will go excellently. And so that's the end of our time for today. Always great to talk to you. Good to see you again. And thank you to Fortinet for sponsoring this webcast. And of course, thank you to our audience for coming to listen to us. Be well.